Hello and welcome back to another episode of Only a Bag, a travel podcast. This is the second episode in our house sitting series. My name is Nathaniel Mellor, and with me today is...
Darcy Melton. Hi.
Hello. What are we talking about today?
We're just talking about getting started. So what that means is where to find a house sit and setting up your profile about who you are.
Yeah, very simple. I guess you could probably still find house sits in like the back of travel magazines and stuff.
Potentially. I think there are fewer and fewer magazines like that than there were whenever our parents were potentially doing this before us.
Because I was younger, like when I was 5, my parents actually found a house swap in the back of a travel magazine. One of those, just, tell us where you live, and if we like it, we'll come, and you come to our house. Here's where we live. And I think we spent like a month in France just swapping houses, which is really exciting for young Nathaniel. But it's not, obviously, that's like... I think we're moving into a generation of that being sort of untrustworthy because there's no like traceability. There's no.
But also some people don't know that was ever a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, when we started doing this, I looked online.
Yeah.
I had no idea that obviously, how did people exist before the internet? There were things in print, but I wouldn't have thought about that.
Well, definitely, especially because, magazines cost money. And so these days, there are a number of house-sitting websites.
Mm-hmm.
Below in the description, we will have links to all of them. If we are going to have, some of them have affiliate links as well as normal links. Some of them will just have normal links. And if you don't know what an affiliate link is, basically we receive a very small commission if you use our link to sign up. It just helps us going as a podcast. But some people are uncomfortable with that. We totally understand. So we're also going to provide normal, uncommissioned links. And on the topic of making our podcast money, we are going to have a very short ad break. And when we get back, we are going to continue talking about house sitting. I hope you enjoy the ad.
Welcome back from the ad. And in this series, we're also going to have an episode about our favorite house-sitting websites and why we like them.
Yeah, the ones that we like the most, why we like them. But for now, basically, getting started, there are places like Trusted House Sitters, Nomador, which is like Nomad, or it's a French one, Mind My House. There's a whole collection of those, like House Sitters US, House Sitters UK, or UK House Sitting, US House Sitting. It's something like that. It's like, but there's a whole I think there's 5 of them. I think it's Canada, US, UK, New Zealand, and one other location. There's maybe 20. Housecarers.com is a popular one. It's been established for a while. It's about 25 years old, I think. So it sort of was the cutting edge of house sitting websites at the beginning of the, not the beginning of the internet at all, but just when things were moving online, they were kind of the first to be online, because so many of them are really only in the last 5 or 10 years. So that's kind of where you get your start these days.
Yeah.
Which means, not unfortunately, but it does mean building a profile.
Yeah, so on each site that you sign up for, you'll have to have a profile, not like a LinkedIn, so you have to set up individually your profile on every different website that you sign up for.
It's also, I know that there's a slight generational difference. I know that the younger generation doesn't mind sharing a lot of personal details. And I know that in an older generation, it's not as common. So they're like...
a little hesitant.
Yeah, like my dad, for example, has fake accounts for everything, never sharing real information. But he doesn't house sit because he doesn't like the idea of sharing his real name or photos of himself or anything like that, which can make it impossible because the whole point of a house sitting website or house sitting profile is to sell who you are.
Mm-hmm. And to be clear about who you are. It's like a more professional version of Facebook or any sort of social media profile.
Absolutely. So what are some things we need to get started, on our profile?
It's kind of 3 or 4 basic things. Your name, obviously, and both of your names if you're a couple. Photos, and some of them will ask for a background check, and then your bio.
Starting with your name specifically, we use Darcy and Nathaniel, or Darcy Melton, Nathaniel Mellor, or something like that. I think it's assumed that families or couples will have like just one account. Obviously, you're not paying for multiple accounts.
Right.
I mean, multiple accounts on the same website.
It's also more clear
yeah.
for people to know who is coming specifically.
Yeah. The photos is a kind of a one of the more not even interesting. It's one of the more sticky details, I think, because we look at some people's profiles and like sometimes it's sort of like Instagram-y photos, sometimes it's heavily edited photos, which it's not bad, but I think there's already a bit of there's a
mistrust.
lot of mistrust, like a bit of mystery, a little bit of like, who are these people?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to invite a stranger into your house, especially while you're not there.
Right. So you kind of want to know who they are, and I think part of that is what they look like. And I think anytime somebody asks us, we always recommend like using super clear photos, photos that are not edited, photos with pets if possible, or traveling.
And to be clear, you have a sort of a main profile photo, and then often a little small gallery of photos to go along with it.
Yeah. So the main profile photo is that sort of ideally happy, smiling.
And a clear view of your face. I mean, it's that whole professional thing, just so people know what you look like, who to expect when they see you for the first time. And then the gallery would be, what's your personality like? We want to see you being happy with other people's pets,
It's super simple though. So it's, that's kind of the extent of it. And then after the photos is the bio. That's like a sort of the basic, your chance to sell yourself, sell who you are. I know it's like, I mean, the classics are age, putting in how old you are. That says though a lot about what the homeowner will expect from you. As far as if you are younger, they're kind of going to expect that you're out and about. We mentioned in the first episode that sometimes people, like when you're house sitting, you might have a job while you're there, or not at the house, obviously, but in that same city, or you might be bringing your family or something like that. So when you say, "Oh, I'm 23," they might be expecting, "Oh, they're going to stay out all night," and half them, half these house sits are very clear, like we don't care, like come in whenever you want to come in the house.
As long as the pets are taken care of.
Exactly. Like my cat doesn't care if you come in at 3 a.m.
And some people will prefer an older group of people or an older house sitter. And we've also, I think we had luck finding people who saw us, not as their kids, but they could see that we were their kids' age, but also that we were responsible. So it's important to be honest with how old you are and your maturity level and what you'll be doing at the house sit. You know, like our profile says, our age. We're now much older. We're 3 years older. We're 27.
Update that, actually.
Oh, no, it's updated. Don't worry.
Oh.
Keep your profiles updated, everybody. No, but I also say in our profile that we act like a retired couple because we work from home. We're really relaxed. I take an afternoon nap with most of the pets we pet sit for. So, it's just important to be clear about who you are.
I think also we mentioned that we're a writer and an artist. Darcy's an artist. I'm a writer. And that sort of lets people know that we aren't going to be really out and about as much. We are going to be there. It also lets people know that, I mean, some people have had questions. Oh, you're an artist. Does that mean you'll be getting my house super messy with paint? And of course, we're not. It was, I think at the beginning you were using watercolors, and that was super easy to clean up. Now that we're using
Not that I ever made a mess, but it is a very easy to clean up medium. But now that I'm, working in oils, it could sound a little scarier, because I think people often expect an artist to be, like a Jackson Pollock, like throwing paint everywhere, which is the opposite of how I am. So, but I'm just clear, and I let people know, I'm like, I'm a painter. Don't worry. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. And I think, anything else too, like we also put things like, we're vegetarian, and we put that in the bio just to sort of like, I guess I think the first time we did it had something to do, we wanted to like inform people, I don't know, like in certain cities, it was like, I don't know, it's a whole meat culture in Italy, or especially in Europe, but Italy is ridiculous. And I think we're just like, oh, we should let people know ahead of time, like, please don't like, I don't know, be like, you should try this sausage or something like that. But actually that ended up getting us at least 2 house sits. The first, I think, that we had, they were vegetarian, and they were like, oh, that's really cool. And then the second, they were vegan. And I think they didn't want anybody cooking meat in their pans. So putting vegetarian helped us. But if there's anything that, might help you, just connecting to homeowners, I think it really helps. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I
helped
mean,
us.
people like themselves to be in their homes. I mean, it's not to say people are rude about finding strangers who are different from them, but it's a pretty intimate experience, I think, having someone else live in your house for an extended period and taking care of your pets. You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. After the bio, what are the last?
Background check.
The background
Super
check.
simple.
Yeah, I want to say Trusted House Sitters is one of the websites that asks you for a background check or will do a background check on you. And even sometimes they're not necessarily like a criminal background check. It's just valid, like making sure that you match your identification. So you have to like upload a driver's license picture, back and front. I think Mind My House does not do any sort of verification. I think No More Door does. I think some of these websites prefer, like, basically some people prefer when there's a verification process. It means that it's a real person. It's not a scam. That if there is an issue, if there's a theft or something like that, ideally the company has the, like, oh, well, we know who this person is. We can help you press charges.
Yeah, it's a level of safety.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just something to protect yourself.
And the other thing is reviews. If this is your first time house sitting, you don't have reviews, obviously. But if you have house sit or pet sit for a friend, or if you're a young person, like we were quite young when we started pet sitting outside of our hometown, but we had done it when we were in high school, so we could, ask those people for references. So I think when we first did it, I put in our bio, if you would like a reference, let me know, and I will provide emails of people who can vouch for us, essentially.
Absolutely. And in the next episode, we are definitely going to sort of talk about getting the first house sit. But because we've just covered the photos and the biography and all the sort of important bits, very quickly, we did actually want to talk about just sending that first message.
Yeah, so the first message that you send, when you are applying for a sit, it's straightforward. It's directly to the homeowner. And what you want to do is obviously come across nice. Just say, hi, this is who we are. And sort of, you've already done your bio. So once you've sent a message, the homeowner will likely look at your bio to see who you are. So you don't want to just copy and paste that. You want to send a direct message to this person addressing them and their home and their pets, and, just nicely let them know, why you think you'd be a good fit, and just gently who you are. And they'll kind of do the same in return. So it's pretty straightforward, but it can seem really daunting. I know the first time we did it, or the first time we actually reached out first, our first house that we had, the homeowner reached out to us. So it was a little less scary, but it's always a little daunting. So just be nice and, say a little bit about yourself and why you think you would work well with their pets. Name their pets, read everything about their house that they have put on their profile, and their house sit, and about their pets, and address them specifically, because that shows that you do really care. Definitely
refer to them. Definitely refer to their pets by name. That's a huge one. Any anecdote you have that can also tie in. And as Darcy was saying, it's sort of don't repeat information, but also don't. We've looked at a lot of other, when you look up, I guess when we rephrase this and say, when we first looked up how to have a house sit, it was all these messages that people are like, when you're sending your first message, it's super important. And it was always really over the top, or at least we felt. It was paragraphs and paragraphs. And it felt a little bit, a little daunting for somebody to respond to all that. Because as we found out, now that we're 3 years on, sometimes we'll just shoot somebody a message like, hey, we're interested, we're in Italy, if you still need somebody. And they'll be like, awesome, that sounds amazing. Yeah, just send me, let me, I'll get in contact with you guys in a week. But
yeah, you have to keep in mind that these people might be going through a bunch of messages, and even if they're not, they're just regular people. They don't have time to read your essay.
We mentioned the Trusted House Sitters in the last episode, and we'll mention it again later. They will tell you, they have a little thing that says how many people have applied for that sit already, and that will give you a really good idea of how much wading through this is done. They give you a ballpark. It's 0 to 3, 3 to 7, 7 to 15, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it gives you an idea of this person is fielding just inquiries from everybody. And that's the other thing. So yeah, don't give too much information, because then you want to also leave some for later on in the conversation. Address the names, address the person by name. If you know anything about where they are, definitely throw that in there. Just a little something, just to kind of seem as if, you're interested genuinely in where they are and what they do.
And if you have experience with the kind of pets that they have, that's a really important thing to put in there because, again, that will be in your bio. But if you have a specific anecdote or about a dog, or you took care of a bird one time, it was really fun, or, silly, I don't know. It's just little things that make them, realize you have experience, so they'll have confidence in you, but also, understand that you're just another human.
And one thing you mentioned earlier was less daunting when we got messaged first, and I think that's true. However, we also had a bit of a weird panic attack because we had a profile, we had pictures, we had everything. We had like the whole 9 yards, and they had nothing. They had a name. And so we were both like a little bit like, is this for real? Is this fake? Is this like a scam? And it was also in Edinburgh, so we were like, this is a scam. Like they have a month and a half, or almost like 2 months long house sit in Edinburgh. Like this has to be a scam, and it wasn't. I mean, it was an amazing house sit, and we're still friends with the homeowners to this day. But it was a very kind of scary moment because there was no way to validate or verify rather who this person was. And so if that happens to you, it's not necessarily a scam. It's not the end of the world. It just they did not strike us once we met them as the people who were like, we have time to spend an hour and a half setting up a profile. Yeah. They did not. They were like, we have other things we'd rather be doing with our time.
But that being said, do be careful and cautious. Just use your best judgment when you're doing these things. 100%.
100%. Always. And that's just, I think there's the very bare basics of how to send that message. And then, of course, once it, I will say as a last little note, you might not want to expect like being like just solid like friends or knowing everything about them after a few messages. Yeah. I mean, was the house that I think we mentioned we were house sitting in Rome. I think we exchanged like 2 messages, maybe 3, and it was like a month out. And the guy was like, "Yeah, this sounds awesome. Just let me know when you're here." And I was, "That's it? Just, or do you want to know anything about us?" Not at all. And then we chatted for maybe 5 minutes, and then he's like, "Anyway, here's the house. I'll leave you guys to it. Good luck. The cat's somewhere under the bed sheets. I have no idea where the cat is, but you'll figure it out." And so that we have different, we've had, and I've gone like the one Darcy mentioned in Scotland. I think we met them for a coffee and we chatted for a few hours before seeing the house. So I feel like we've had both sides of the spectrum where it's the 5-minute introduction to this person and we're going to stay at their house for a month and a half, or the hours long connecting with them. And it doesn't, I don't think they're not signs of anything. It's more so just how a person is. It's like some people just want to know who you are, and some people are just
very trusting.
Yeah, they're like, don't break any of my things, don't kill my cat, and I'll see you guys when I get back. So I think that's mostly it. So it's like the message, while important, I think a lot of other places we looked, like websites and books and stuff like that, were like, it's the most important part of this. I'm like, it really isn't. It's and sometimes we get like, again, a 1 line back, or sometimes people are like, call me at this number and we can work something out, and which of course we don't do because I don't want to call anybody. I don't want to be on the phone with anybody. So no. But I think that's how you send a message. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So in the next episode, I believe we're going to be talking about
getting your first house sit and, getting reviews, doing house sits more locally just to start off with, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And we thank you guys so much for listening to this episode.
Thank you for listening.
We hope that you listen. We hope to hear you on the next one. We hope to have your ears on the next one.
On the next one, and you're listening.
We hope to talk at you on the next one. Thank you so much. Good night.